Hey, everybody. This is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous, good looking friends. On days like this, sometimes I wonder how much of an impact is the Royal Grift channel really having on presenting information that is valuable to this audience. I also wonder how far is my reach, and are people getting the message that this couple, who we have been talking about now on this channel for the last 2 years, hence the name The Royal Grift, are two of the biggest con artists, aka grifters, Hollywood has ever seen. What's getting frustrating to me is seeing stories now come out in which had been exposed months ago. So help me understand, why is this breaking news? Why is this dominating the headlines today when this was exposed back in November of 2022 by the Megxit community? Megan's Mole did a video on it. I did a video on it. I'm sure others did a video on it. The point I'm trying to make here is, why is this breaking news? I get that I'm not a big channel and my reach is not very far. However, this community is quite tight. And when I say quite tight, many of the same people who watch my videos pretty much watch the rest of anything in the community, as well as venture out to other channels who are now talking about this situation. One thing that I'm really sensitive about is making sure that credit is given to those that it's due to. And what I'm starting to see right now is mainstream media is picking up on the stories that they chose to ignore, that many of us in this community have been talking about now for multiple years. And now those journalists who chose to ignore the things that we have been saying, who actually had went after us and reporting lies and propaganda for the couple, now are all of a sudden turning around and reporting on stories that they ignored the first time around. And what's challenging now to see are bigger YouTube channels who are not a part of the Megxit community breaking these stories as if they are the ones now bringing the news to the platform. And in some cases, I've seen additional information knowing that that information came from this community and there had been no credit given. And what's even more disappointing is that this community is not backing us. What I mean by that is, when you look at a recent video on this particular channel that is well over 500,000 subscribers, they're talking about this situation and they haven't got a clue of any background and reporting the news as if they're the ones breaking it. And in the comment section on this particular video, there's like over 1,000 comments. And there was hardly, if any, I found one that referenced one of our channels here for this person to go and check out to get a little bit better educated. But what's even more irritating to me is seeing in the same comment section on this video pertaining to a topic that we know intimately well, is for someone to accuse the rest of the YouTubers reporting on this topic to be taking this person's content. Out of respect to the content creators in the Megxit community, I would kindly ask if this community could be a little more supportive, especially in the newer channels that have now jumped on board to talk about this couple. There have been many of us who have endured a fair amount of abuse over speaking out about this couple. I kindly ask, out of respect to us, whenever you see something that's coming up out of the news that we have already covered, please mention us and make people aware of who we are. Because right now, what's happening is our information's being used and people are not getting the credit, even though they've put the effort and the time into it. One of my biggest pet peeves that is cropping up are the comments being left suggesting that I need to reach out to some of these newer YouTubers to help giving me information because they have a bigger presence. I mean, they literally have been talking about this for a hot second. There isn't anything that these newer channels could provide me when it comes to information pertaining to the Harkles and their nefarious behavior and activities. Let's all remember that this channel is called The Royal Grift, and Bill Simmons was not the first one to call this couple a bunch of grifters. So please, let's stop acting so surprised that somebody dared to call them grifters. And for the journalists that are watching my channel, because I know that there are a few of you that are out there watching the channel, do your job. Or if you don't want to do the investigative work, give credit to where it's due. That's all we ask. Like, here is a real story for you. There's plenty information out there. Just break it already. Sorry about the mini rant, but I felt that it needed to be said because, as we can all see, the dam is finally breaking. The article in The Spectator today opens the debate up. Is this the end of the road for Meghan Markle? The author of this article, Damian Riley, summarizes the trials and tribulations the Harkles have endured over the last couple months. First, we had the South Park takedown. Then we had Tim Dillon talking about Hollywood and not wanting to hang out with Meghan. And we have the Spotify leaving. He goes into saying, it's hard not to feel a little sympathy for Meghan, not least because it feels like the end of the road reputationally. Honestly, I don't feel at all bad for her. First, she enraged large sections of the public in the UK with her antics, but then she left, seemingly for the promise of being better understood, and therefore more free in America. But history seems to be repeating itself. Now, increasingly, she is being openly mocked for what is perceived to be the grift, swindle of monetizing and using for social advancement, the supposed horrors of a life of unimaginable royal privilege. Perhaps unfairly, Harry seems to get off more lightly on account of the widely held belief that he is incredibly thick and therefore easily led. Macbeth to her Lady Macbeth, in other words. Maybe there's a way to rebrand successfully. After all, it's what Hollywood specializes in. Meghan has recently signed with the WME talent agency, and if anyone can turn it around for her, surely they can. Perhaps that starts with classy brand endorsements, and I think this is a little outdated. There was talk of some sort of deal with Dior, but that no longer is true. They say, or perhaps it begins with a lengthy period of silence and unheralded dedication to unglamorous worthy causes. Ironically enough, pretty much exactly what she was expected to do as a member of the British royal family. It might be the duller option, but it's at least harder to satirize. Look, we all know that Meghan cannot stay out of the spotlight. Even if she's not seen physically, you know that her PR will be pushing out propaganda almost on a daily basis to try and get the public back on her side. She is not going to go anywhere, and I think we all know that. From what we have witnessed, the amount of deceit and manipulation on just about everything that Meghan and Harry have done from day one, I would not be surprised if the story is out there and the walls started caving in on Meghan about these pregnancies and the real truth about them. Don't be surprised if, when all else fails, this woman would not put it past her to fake her own death and escape out of the country, collect insurance, hightail it out of the US, and start a brand new life under a different persona or name. We're at the point where everything around them has fallen down. And I think that if the truth about those pregnancies were out, that would be the final curtain for Meghan Markle. And I could totally see her making herself out to be some type of martyr and disappearing. Maybe come back in 20 years. Surprise! I'm not dead after all. I could totally see it. This woman is that delusional and that mental to pull something off like that. Because what we have seen so far is pretty bad. At this point, she's got skeletons that are ready to come out, and I don't think she wants to be there to face the music. There's a reason why this woman constantly uses the same stories and the same vocabulary, as well as appear to be stuck as if she's still 12 years old. The reason is because she refuses to learn and she refuses to grow. And with that, this is the behavior that we're going to get. You can't teach an old dog, or shall I say an old bitch, new tricks. On that note, what do you guys think? Leave your comments below. I will be back tomorrow with some more content. Until then, be safe. Bye.
I was such a fraud.